Welcome back to
Hey,
an episode of Friday Night Food Hunters Basketball. We're still in the workshop for names. What was some of the names that you're thinking of?
I was thinking of like off the rim or like guard up top, ball up top, ball up
Ball
top,
top.
ball up top. You can't hold up. Let it-
That's a
Ball up top. That's a good name.
that sounds like a good name.
We're back Friday Night Futon. This one of our goals for this year is to do it every Friday consistently.
Yes, that is
10 people
our
watching this, 5 people watching this, 20 people watching this, or like 100 people watching this.
yeah,
That is our goals for us to do.
our New Year's resolution.
Yes, definitely. New Year's resolution. We're gonna get to y'all basketball, and we're gonna basically show y'all about everything. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So let's go back in time a little bit to the Christmas games. Um,
Mm,
I heard on the Bill Simmons podcast they were talking about how it's kind of like just like we're the casuals, like which basically it's like kind of like the first day of the NBA for casuals. And I
mm,
think it was it showed because I had people that were haven't watched a single game of the NBA that were with me on Christmas, and those Christmas games proved why the NBA is really spectacular. All of those games
yeah.
were very good and very exciting. So are there anyone that is there anyone that you want to touch on first?
I think I was gonna keep this for last, but one game that stood out to me was the Lakers versus the Warriors.
Hmm.
Really
Yeah,
to
that
watch
was the most watched game.
LeBron and Steph Curry then battle it out, and then Austin Reeves the game winner. That was interesting.
Yeah, no, the game winner, after the interview, he said it wasn't for him, Austin Reeves.
Mhm.
He said it was supposed to go to Braun, but he clearly saw Braun was kind of he got hooked on by Draymond, and that's just beautiful ball IQ right there from Austin Reeves to just take it all the way. Um,
What's crazy about that game was just to see them go at it.
yeah,
Like, we probably won't see Stephen Curry drop 38, and unless like it's against a team like the Warriors in a long time, just because he's getting older. How you
yeah,
feel about that? He dropped 38. He had 38, I think one rebound and 6 assists, something like that.
yeah. The Curry games well, against the Braun, they are the most watched games, like I said, but
Hmm.
yeah, it does feel like the performances from Curry, he's not really gonna do it unless it is really necessary.
Yeah, unless
And
it's like
the
necessary. Yeah,
Warriors haven't really put themselves in spots where it is necessary for him to uh just go out and backpack this team because he's kind of been doing that already, but they're
yeah.
16 and 16 right now at the 10th seed under the Spurs right now. And I was gonna get to the Spurs later, but I'm gonna talk about them right now because we're talking on the Christmas stuff. The Spurs are right now on the ninth seed at 17 and 16. They won they I think they had the game of Christmas with
Against the
Wemby
Knicks.
dropped
Yep.
yep, Wemby dropping 40 in the Garden,
Woo.
and and then Mikal Bridges really icing the game with also his 40 piece. But
Mhm.
I have it in my notes. I think that the Spurs are the most dangerous team to see in the play-in. They're currently the nice seed. I if you get one of those Christmas Day performances like
Yeah, definitely.
what Wemby did, I think it can right now outblast a Warriors team, which is who they would be playing right now in the play-in.
Yeah.
So I think
Hmm.
that'd be kind of the last time we could see Curry maybe go for these one of these big games. But if you're going
Yeah.
up against the Spurs, I would have the Spurs.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that. If you look at the Western Conference right now, you look at who's going to be fighting for that play in the eighth seed spot. So the AFC right now is the Timberwolves. After that, you got the Spurs, then you got the Warriors, then you got the Suns. So I think it's just those four teams. I don't think the 12th and third man count.
Yeah,
I don't think any team can beat the Spurs. I mean, the Timberwolves maybe, as if
yeah,
they work together. They
yeah,
they they've been 5-5 in their last 10 games. So they won 5 games and lost 5 games in their last 10 games. But they haven't been all the way together. They've been iffy. Looking at the Suns, they won their last 3 games and lost 7. So
yeah.
I feel like going into that, like the playoff, going later down, it's just about who's like more proficient, like who's more like been on a streak more, who's been like not like no first game team, you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how I
I
feel
definitely
about
feel
that.
like that. I just feel like with all of that, I think. Um, maybe the Suns. I feel like their peak basketball with Kevin Durant at the very beginning of the season probably has looked the best out of all
Yeah,
of these play-in teams. But yeah, it would really take the Timberwolves to put it all together. But I just haven't seen that really this year. It kind of really has been Julius Randle's in some moments, but and Anthony Edwards in most, but they haven't really found a perfect cohesion yet, and it
but
certainly
yeah, I
hasn't
feel like
been good on defense.
yeah, I feel like for them to work together, I think it's just gonna have to come from inside. Um, it won't be overnight, definitely. It just have to be over time. One of those things like over time, because they got to figure out how to make it work, honestly. Because this was what most teams do wrong, right? They get a big three, and then they either try to play off the big three or play off like one person or two persons, and not like move as a whole unit. So if you look at from when we were younger, like Miami Heat in 2012 with LeBron, Bosh, and D Wade, how they all moved together as a unit. And, they were the big three, and they were the ones scoring. We don't really have that. We kind of always got like one player, like from each team that's like a big three or considered a big three.
Yeah, I
We
think
always got that one player.
I think
That,
yeah
like,
the true I think last big three is the Suns. I think
yeah,
the more focus is duos and just figuring out how to build with your duos. I think the second apron has completely abolished big threes as well. I think the Suns have had no wiggle room with acquiring Bradley Beal, and
yeah,
they did very good being able to get 2 point guards that have helped them stay somewhat steady. And I really liked their draft pick in Ryan Dunn, but it's just they need more. They need more size, and then being a team that needs more size and you just can't. There's no money to move to get that size, and so you kind
yeah.
of pigeonholed yourself into a bad situation. So yeah, I do agree with some of that. I
And
think
then I think like
a lot more teams have that duo. Like a lot, like the further down we go, down the thing down the standings. We have Dallas at 5 right now, who was a top 3 team at one point, but their duo is Kyrie and Luca. And then you go
mhm.
even further down, you still have Braun and Anthony Davis at 7. So like the
And the
emphasis is,
Lakers. I mean,
yeah,
and the Clippers. Sorry,
yeah, the
and the
Clippers.
Clippers.
Well,
I feel like
they don't have Leonard right now as their duo.
yeah, but I
It,
mean they still got a duo with Zubac and Harden. If you want to count
no,
that,
it
it's really like a
if anyone, it's Norman Powell. Norman Powell has really been like
it's
the
really like a
carry
bunch
of
of
them.
role players, like a bunch of it's like a bunch of B plus players, and you got James Harden who's like an A minus, and then Kawhi Leonard who's an A plus, who's like
But
and
he hasn't played this whole year.
yeah, I know he's
I haven't even
yeah.
thought of Kawhi Leonard this whole entire year.
So if he does come back, hopefully,
But no,
I would
I
love to
agree.
see James
I
Harden win
I,
the championship.
I do agree.
I ain't lying.
The Clippers have been one of my favorite teams to watch.
And their bench is good. Come on,
No,
they got Bones Highland coming off the bench scoring 19 points.
their bench is good. They
And Chris
have
Dunn, who's like defensive, he could
Chris
be
Dunn,
defensive
yeah.
player of the year or something.
Chris Dunn has had the impact that I thought Keon Ellis was going to have, but the Kings have been horrible, and we can
Yeah.
transition into that if you would like
Yes, I would love to. Let's talk about them.
with Mike Brown being fired. So I know you don't have you don't we were talking a little bit off the pod, and you're kind of baffled and why they do this and why they did this. So I'll let you have the floor here.
All right, y'all. So the Sacramento Kings, let me give you a little backstory. So the coach Mike Brown, he won, I believe, the coach of the year in the 2022 to 2023 season, where their record was 48 and I believe 34 or 36 losses. Looking at their record this year compared to that one, they're about like 4 games off. So let's see, their record is 15 and 19. So they literally they literally have 4 less wins than the losses they currently have. What that means is they're kind of in the middle. They're kind of like when you look at the Kings, they never been a great team or they never been a horrible team. They've always been like a C minus, C plus team. They've always been okay. For them to fire their coach, I think it's crazy. I think it's a bad decision. So because now like where do you go from here? You got to find another coach. you have to start a new program all over again, or not even all over again. If you keep the same program. So I don't know if they fire the coach, fire the other like other offensive coaches, offensive coordinator, or like what are they doing for that? Like I don't know how they usually work, but I don't think that's a good thing. Like I can see like if the Pelicans were to fire the coach, they're five and
Yeah.
29. Like then I'm like, okay, they're 5 and 21. Maybe they want to start the program over again.
Yeah, I
But
think the Pelicans
for them
that
to
they've
just
just been riddled with injuries, and with the Kings, at least
yeah
those players have been playing, and it's not been good.
yeah
And the big thing, I guess, with the losses and it being not that similar I mean that yeah similar to last year is that they acquired DeMar DeRozan, and I guess
yeah
everyone in the I feel like NBA community knew that it wasn't really going to be that big of a moving uh
yeah
to their ceiling, but I guess the Kings thought it was a big push for them, so that was worth firing their coach. Um, Unanimous coach of the year as well, which was also a big thing, leading the
yeah.
light the beam kind of movement there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my number one thing is Mike Brown is I feel like why they're moving on from his. I just feel like I know on Tim Legler's All NBA podcast they thought differently, but on numbers on the board they thought similar as I do. I think Mike Brown has kind of just lost the locker room
Mm-hmm.
in a way. There was also weird rotational things. I don't that didn't seem Mike Brown. I think he had an
Yeah.
amazing season from Keon Ellis, and then we didn't see Keon Ellis implemented into the starting lineup until after him being fired. And now the Kings have won their last two
Yeah, yep. Their last two, they won yesterday
with
against Philly.
with Keon
Um,
Ellis starting.
yeah,
But I don't know.
John Ellis didn't really show up that much, but
They're on the I think the big killer was the five losing the five at home. If you're any
mhm,
team, losing five at home is horrible, and it being on that home streak, and then that one loss where uh De'Aaron Fox fouled the Jay Nivey who sorry for Jay Nivey's injury
yeah,
last night, but yeah he hit that big time 4 point play, and I think uh. And when Mike Brown in that huddle before that 4 point play told everybody to stay down. And once you just lose the locker room kind of like that, and there's just weird things down the stretch that you would think that having two of the best fourth quarter scoring players in the last 3 years with DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox that their fourth scoring would be better, and it's horrible. It just it's just weird that they don't even seem like a similar team. And
yeah,
a big thing with the lack of shooting is also that Keegan Murray has came out and said that he doesn't get the same touches in rhythm with the acquisition of DeMar DeRozan, which is to be expected. But I think after the year that Keegan Murray had, he would be one of your uh, focal points of your offense.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, the Mike Brown thing, the only thing, yeah, I just feel like it's weird that they did it somewhat similar to the Bucks. Well, not the Bucks were a good team, but like in middle of the season, you're I mean you are 12th, I think, but it is just weird because we're talking about the Pelicans. I feel like the Pelicans on my other I wanted to talk about what teams might just be dead in the water. I think the Pelicans are completely dead in the water. The East, of course, have the Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets who are trying to be dead in the water. But I think with the Sacramento Kings, they're sitting at 12. I don't see how firing your coach would then boost you
Make
to
it any
be.
better? Like, come
Yeah,
on, like
yeah,
at least I can see if y'all like dead end last.
yeah. I
Like, think about it. Think about it. If you were the coach, Quinn, you're the coach. Or no. If you were like the owner, and you see this team that's 15 and 19, who, to be honest, it's kind of their range.
if anything, it's a trade.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of their range. Like their range is like, okay, I'm a 500 team, I'm a 450 team. Like that's like my range. I'm above 500, like a little bit below. It's like their range. They're not really like over too much over that. Would you fire the coach, or would you like try to reevaluate like what's going on?
Well, it's weird that they fired their coach and then it's the trade rumors of De'Aaron Fox because then I felt like in a world it's just De'Aaron Fox has won that situation and the coach has
Right.
been fired and that's what he'd like to stay. So I don't know why you would go and do both of those things. So yeah, but I still don't feel like this team has figured out any of their issues. It's not like their coach was the problem of any of these issues. This team can't play defense and it doesn't have really the personnel to play defense except for Keon Ellis. And yeah, the shooting just has been bad all around. They've just been a 500 team in every aspect of basketball. But oh, another big another thing is that they give up. They shoot the least amount of threes in the league, and they give up the most amount of threes also in the league, which is we're living in a three
That's
point era,
that's
and you
bad.
just can't do that.
Yeah.
That's it's a horrible recipe. So I guess that those are systematical things that I guess might change with the coach. So I guess that could be the only way. But I get they have won their last two, and one of those wins you said came from the 76ers. They played
Yep.
the same.
Yesterday.
Yeah. So and the 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks have completely flipped their season around at the fifth seed.
Hmm.
But after Christmas, beating the Celtics, the 76ers are 7-3 in their last 10. So and have kind of flipped around their season right now, sitting at the 11th seed, only 2 wins um behind the Bulls, which is a team that I definitely think they can catch up to.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
definitely.
so what do you think? What are your thoughts on the how the 76ers have been playing?
I think with the 76ers, it's so sad, Jerry McCain. I think they really got to come together as a unit. I feel like that's what teams are lacking nowadays. Like I feel like us as fans, we're always looking to that one or two persons to go off. But if the Sixers were to have like Tyrese Maxey score 30, Paul George give us 25s, uh, Kyle Lowry can score like 10 points. We need everybody else. We need Embiid if he's healthy.
If he's playing
Which would be
tonight?
interesting. Which would be interesting. They play the Warriors tonight, so we'll see how they match up with the Warriors. We'll see
Yeah,
how they match up.
in that, so Paul George hasn't been having the greatest of performances, and I can hear it from I can see it because he's one of my favorite players, and just living in the city, living in the state of New Jersey, having the closest Philly team be the fan base, and they are very vocal on how Paul George has been playing. He had 30 in their loss against the Kings, but yeah, he just hasn't been playing all that great to their third option, but I think a big part of that is because he thought he was going to be more playing off of Joel Embiid than he thought he was going to be playing off of Tyrese Maxey, and he
Yeah,
is still figuring
adjusting.
out his way to play with this team. I mean, we just saw Mikal Bridges. He had his first kind of uh I'm a Nick game on Christmas, dropping 40, and because and that kind of just capped off his amazing December because his November wasn't all that great, and then he has an amazing December, which I feel like he's kind of finally found his footing, where Cat found his footing from day one, and it
Yeah,
takes some players some different times. So I think Paul George definitely hasn't found that, and uh, Embiid not playing back to backs and he'll play
they played the
one.
30th. They played December 30th.
Yeah, he'll play one game out of the week. It just that's no way to build the team chemistry. The Jared McCain thing hit so bad. That was the thing that the 76ers were grasping onto. So I'm glad that they're finally at least pulling off some wins because uh just even playing with like playing with the 76ers in 2K, it's just like you get to that bench and it's like, oh man, at least I had Jared McCain to like fire off some like just like some fun buckets, but
Yeah,
it's like it's bad. It like
yeah. That bench, the
they don't even have
bench.
Ricky Council doesn't even have a face scan.
Yeah. Who is Ricky Council? Who is that? I don't want to know
You
him. I don't want to know him.
don't know
If
Ricky
I watch the
Council.
Sixers, if I
You
watch
know
the Sixers, I want to see him.
you will see Ricky Council. He'll play. He'll play. He plays more than Reggie Jackson.
Mm.
He's been playing more than Reggie Jackson, but Kyle Lowry's been getting majority of those Jared McCain minutes again, and it's just funny because
And
he
Kyle Lowry ain't been doing nothing.
because also talking about 2K, he is a D plus in finishing. I don't know what disrespect. They
Kyle
got
Lowry only scores like 3 points a game now, or like I don't know.
yeah, it's bad
It's
looks over
like
there.
okay, Embiid plays like once every while, he might give you 40, right? Then he don't want to play again for another couple of days. Then Tyrese Maxey, he's giving you 20 balls, 23, which is good.
In this game that we're talking about, this Kings game, sorry to cut you off. Kyle Lowry
Very
had
good.
played 17 minutes, had no points, no
Yeah,
rebounds, and 1 assist off 0 for 3 shooting. He
he
started,
was just running and
and
passing
he was in
and
the starting
shooting
lineup.
attempts.
But sorry, keep continue.
I feel like as age get older, these NBA players start to decline, which is
Oh
fine.
yeah,
But
oh yeah.
like even Paul just I seen a clip when he said like he didn't think he was able to be like the MVP type of guy when he came to six to Philly.
Hmm.
Which I understand you're a little older, but you still need to remember like okay, you went up against Miami and you played the Pacers, so this is like it's a task, but you can do it.
His production is similar to Tobias Harris, and that has honestly been the biggest issue. It's he
Yeah.
hasn't separated his production to Tobias Harris enough for this team to really motivate me to them being a contender. The Bucks have, again, like I said, that actually they've officially fought back into the top 5 in the East, and I think they've solidified them as a contender again. I still hate the Torian Prince minutes. Sometimes he gives you random 3-3 games.
Bro,
So
he's so random.
he is. I
He's
think he
so
is.
random.
He. I'd rather have Gary Trent out there personally or AJ Green, but they love
Yeah,
their
AJ
Torian
Green, yeah.
Prince. Um,
What's crazy? Wait, before you go to the next topic, what's crazy about Torian Prince is one game, one random game, he'll give you like 30 points. Then the next game, he's just running and rebounding. It's
yeah,
like okay, like
and it's
I know you're a defensive player, but like help out your team a little bit.
yeah, not now. There's like no excuse because it's like they've kind of came back, but like even when they were like bad, it was like you're playing out there. We have you out there for defense, and the Bucks were bad at defense, and now they've kind of middle of the pack to them because Giannis has carried them. Um, but yeah, the Bucks. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We can go on to the next topic.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
we got the D'Angelo Russell trade. D'Angelo Russell and Maxwell Lewis and 3 second-round picks were traded to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton, who have all 3 of those players, except for Maxwell Lewis, have played a game for their respected team. D'Angelo Russell's coming last night, and his probably being the best performance, but not a
Mhm.
very good performance, and not it was not a fun watch. It was kind of a shaky. He had I knew he ended with 20 points. I want to get
22,
his
yeah.
complete stat line. Yeah, 22, 2 rebounds and 8 assists, but he shot 9 for 13 and 2 for 6 from three. I just felt like a lot of times he didn't know where the hell to be on the court. I saw him when he was stacked up again with who I think it was I don't know who else it was. I think it might have been Ben Simmons, but I think he was standing right next to somebody in the corner. It was just an awkward play, or he was sitting deep hash. It was just weird. I hope that will get which I thought was weird because I thought he would be a main ball
Yeah.
handler and
You would
later in the
think he's
game,
back in Brooklyn.
yeah, later in the game he had 8 assists and just it was a game with no Cam Thomas playing. I thought it was completely gonna be here's the
I thought it was
keys.
gonna be his game too. I
Yeah.
thought it was like, okay, he's gonna go off.
Yeah, you're playing the Raptors, not that
Yeah,
you're an active team trying to lose. It's like just let's just see what D'Lo can do in his in the game back.
right.
And I just thought it was a kind of a weird game back. And then for the Lakers, they have Dorian Finney-Smith, and he kind of puts up a Torian Prince stinker with 2 points, and then Shake Milton looks like the better player, having 8 points off the bench. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about this trade?
D'Lo. Drafted, drafted by the Lakers in 2015, playing underneath Kobe. So we watched his development. Um, as a player, has he got better over these years from 2015 to 2025, 24? Or 2025 now, but 2024 season. Um, I don't think he got that better, that much better. Like, okay, he has a game in the Lakers with LeBron. We could score like he should be scoring like 16 points a game. Some games he only scores 8, and he just shoots these wild attempt 3-pointers from far deep. I know he can make them, but like he needs to know what to do when. I feel like he's just like playing pickup for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna ask, besides his all of course his all-star year in Brooklyn,
mhm.
what what do you think his best year what would you say his like best year other than that is?
I want to say maybe one of those years with Kobe, maybe, and that's saying maybe, but that was like when he was still developing. I don't think
Yeah.
he, maybe the bubble year. Would you say the bubble year, 2020?
So it actually is the bubble year.
Yeah,
He was with the Minnesota
that was a
Timberwolves.
yeah,
But that's just points wise. He averaged two more assists and one less point the next year. So just give or take on where you want it. But the percentages are pretty pretty identical, and he shot better from three in that bubble year. So it yeah his his ups and downs have been a very insane. I hope he doesn't revisit Minnesota or Golden State. I hope he can stay with the Brooklyn Nets for a little bit longer. And I think it's a person that I think it's a the positive thing is I think it is a player that you got back with some picks that isn't gonna be horrible for a rebuilding. Like it gives it
yeah.
gives whoever you're bringing onto your team another person to handle the ball and play off the ball. And I think another big thing that it shows is that uh they're kind of done with the Cam Thomas, like just heavy Cam Thomas, and
Yeah. I think that yeah,
they
I
wanted to
think
take a little bit off of him.
okay, yeah, I agree with that. I think they definitely needed D'Lo for structure.
Yeah,
Let's see who the previous point guards they had. Schroeder. Who's another previous point guard they had?
it would have been shorter than it would have been Kyrie or Spencer
Kyrie, yeah.
Dinwiddie.
Oh, we ain't gonna talk about we ain't
Spencer
gonna talk
Din
about
Spencer Dinwiddie he played some heavy minutes for them at
yeah.
guard.
I think they need him. They needed him, yeah, for sure. Take the weight off of Cam. Long as he can be a 16-8 guy, 20, hopefully a 20-8 guy, 20-10. Because I
Yeah.
know he can do it. I've seen him get assists before, a lot of assists a game. Um, I just feel like that. I, I feel like he fits there. He need to like
Yeah.
work in the system. That's
Because he I remember at the very beginning of the season he said he wanted to be Derek White for the Lakers, and I think at the Brooklyn Nets he can be exactly D'Angelo Russell. He just needs to figure out what they want from him on offense, and he will
yeah.
do that. On the Lakers side, they finally get a point of attack defender because it's been Max Christie, and now it can be Dodo. Um, so he was coming. He's been and he just came off of his best kind of just offensive scoring year with the Brooklyn Nets having full keys to just to do whatever there. And playing some small ball five there, so which is I think is the most fun thing. Uh One of the only few players in history to play to truly guard a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and a center. I think it was like over like 300 or something possessions. So is a versatile defender. But I think the credited of shooting, it was kind of, I think that's the thing that was maybe only a Brooklyn net thing. I think he can still be a person that is not that effective on the offensive end, and we saw that in his
Yeah.
first game back. But I hope he can add a
Hmm.
lot of defensive pressure that they need, for, especially when you want to go against these top teams. You need a wing defender at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
So if you
What the Lakers
yeah,
want to do. But I think the biggest thing with this trade is that the Lakers are going to do another trade.
yeah.
And it's both teams that should be doing another trade because Cam Johnson should not also be on the Brooklyn Nets at the end of the season.
Hmm. I agree with them.
But yeah, so we have 8 more minute we're at the 8 more minute mark, so we're almost gonna go to break. But before we go to break, let me here. So let's get your official take. So we've officially announced the Pelicans dead in the water. Where are we in, are we announcing the Kings dead in the water, or how much time are we giving the Kings until we wrap them up for this year, for this NBA season?
Mm,
Because
honestly,
the only thing that's really keeping them in the water, the Pelicans are god awful and they're not in games. At least the Kings are in games, so like they're in some like crunch time games that I turn
yeah,
on sometimes. That's the only thing that's keeping them in like my watch docket.
I would give them to All-Star break. Give them to All-Star break, see how they doing. Hopefully they're above 500. If they're not, might have to never put on a Kings game for
Yeah,
a while.
I think 'cause I've officially kind of also written off the Jazz. I haven't really watched.
I've been reading out the Jazz.
I haven't watched the Jazz, and I've been written off the Wizards, but
Yeah,
uh
definitely.
the Jazz can be in some competitive games.
Yeah.
Portland
If you want to watch
Trailblazers.
Keontae, if you want to watch Keontae, yeah.
I haven't given up on the Portland Trailblazers. I still watch some of their games. Um, because especially because Anthony Simons has actually been playing a lot better in the recent couple of games stretches. He was kind of bad at the beginning of the year. But yeah, so we're gonna go to break and talk more ball. Thank you very much.
Be back. Peace.
Welcome back. Uh from our break, I got better lighting.
We're back. I got an a do rag. You know what I mean? Heavy
So
duty in the building.
I want to start off with so another thing that happened during Christmas was the 76ers beating the Celtics, and I thought that was just going to be a positive for the Celtics. I didn't really think it was going to also be a negative. I mean, positive for the 76ers. I didn't know it was going to be a negative downswing for the Celtics, who have been looking the worst they have all season, 5-5 in their last 10. So how worried are you about them, or are you not worried about them at all? Because a lot of teams would wish that they were 5-5 in their last 10.
I don't think they have nothing to worry about. The East is competitive, but I feel like the Celtics are solidified. The difference between the Celtics and every other team, to be honest, they're the only team I feel like works as a unit. Besides the OKC in the West, people in the West. Let's talk about the East.
I don't know. I think the Cavs work. I think the Cavs
Yeah,
play
those
the
couple like
most.
those top teams work together. That's what separates them. Like they don't have one player going off for 40, 50.
Yeah.
And if they do, they have another player that's scoring like 20 and everybody else scoring like 15 or 10.
Drew Holiday hasn't been playing, and Porzingis has been day to day as well. So
Yeah.
I will cut them a little bit of slack on there. But I don't know. I think they've also just been shooting themselves in the foot with a lot of threes.
hmm
Um, I think they've fully committed themselves, and they shown how they've fully committed themselves to the three. And I
Yeah.
think the best way to kill them is just when they're not on. And I think they're falling to a territory that maybe could be not the small ballness of the Rockets, but the same shot selection of the Houston Rockets with James Harden. Uh, but because with the other top teams, the Cavs, they can play that style of basketball.
hmm
Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland can get those shots up. Um, I wrote an article about how I didn't really like the Houston Rockets beating in their NBA Cup thing. I thought they shot a little bit too many threes, but it shows that they can also play that same style of Celtics basketball. So like there's teams in the NBA that can like almost copy this style. I think that's
Yeah.
almost what made the Nuggets like so like feared in those years.
hmm
It's like they're like their pick and roll game was elite. Like no one could uh and then they had the dunker spot with Aaron Gordon, and they had the catch and shootness with uh Michael Porter Jr. Like their system felt like unreplicable, but
hmm
it can't, it's very hard to sustain that because Jamal Murray has even been playing like a little bit better, and they're still not the same team. It's felt like, but. Yeah, so I think the thing that carries us to our next thing, which is I think the West is better, has the more competent. I think the number one teams with the Rock, with the Thunder, and with I haven't watched that much Memphis Grizzlies, but the Rockets as well. But I think the East has been playing a lot better basketball, in my opinion. I think
Yeah,
the Magic have been a lot more fun to watch. The Knicks, and like the number one I said is the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is why I have this Donovan Mitchell jersey on. So
mm,
yeah, so I think so. What do you think about that on just a overall just scale of talent? Because I think the heavy hitter star players are in the West, but
yeah, definitely.
The East has been
But yeah,
playing a
the
lot
West has
better.
been slacking, but the East has been like really good, really fun to watch. I never ever thought I would be glad to watch a Magic game,
Yeah.
and I was happy to watch it. So to see that is really good. I'm trying to think of a Magic like an Eastern Conference team that I don't like to watch.
Right now, the best team that I don't like to watch is the sixth seed Miami Heat. I sometimes
Yeah,
I know it's gonna be a Tyler Hero takeover, and sometimes Jimmy Butler can chip in there, but I mean,
yeah,
going down to the seventh and eighth seed, right below them is the Atlanta Hawks, who I've loved watching. Trae Young's been on an amazing tear. We talked about him
remarkable.
in our last podcast, and Jalen Johnson has had an amazing breakout season. And then the Indiana Pacers have finally found their pace. It has also felt like winning 6-4 in their last 10. It kind of feels like they're playing a lot faster pace of basketball and looking a lot more normal as to last year.
Yeah. The only team I don't really like watching in the East is the Wizards.
And they're dead last.
Everybody else I can kind of watch. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
last. If you compare that to the Western Conference teams I really don't like to watch, maybe like three, maybe two or three. Looking at the Pelicans and the Jazz and maybe sometimes the Trailblazers. So I feel like the East, all of it is competitive. Like
Yeah.
even from the 12th spot,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
12 and up, I think is kind of competitive.
and the mellow catches you on a stray night, and you're one
Hmm.
of these lower teams that isn't ready. I think the mellow can definitely take a wins that should have been
Yeah.
yours. But yeah. Uh, what is so I already talked about so then my next big thing is with the Nuggets, just going back to them and how they might be into some back into like the league type stuff. They're 8-2 when Russell Westbrook starts. The Nuggets have the number one fast break points, and they're number one in points in the paint. I and both of those categories come from Russell Westbrook as well, who is who is helping them score in the paint more and more, getting the ball to uh Jokic, who's been scoring more in the paint. But I mean, the fast breaks points, that's almost all Russell Westbrook. Uh and I think that's just I think that's been big to unlock their team. And what do you think about his play over the last couple games?
I feel like his play has been phenomenal. For him to for him to drop a triple double, and I
Perfect
think
triple
it was
double.
a perfect triple double. I think it was. I don't think it was the game yesterday. I think it was the game Monday against the Jazz. He dropped a triple double, 16, 10, and 10. It's amazing. That's exactly what they need. If Jokic can drop 40 or 30, everybody else can drop 20. Murray, Bruin, MPJ, and Russell Westbrook can drop like a triple double. I don't see why they're not in the finals. They work full. They work full as a team. You got Watson coming off dropping 20 or 13. I don't see where they lack at besides points given up. I feel like the defense could be a little bit better. To give up 120 points against the Jazz, I think is crazy.
Yeah, I think the trade that's just screaming in my face is figuring out a way to get Cam Johnson
Hmm.
onto this team. It would make up for a little bit of the lackadaisical scoring from Jamal Murray this
Yeah.
year. It would definitely add scoring onto your team, and it would make up for the lack of shooting that Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun add to the, because Christian Braun only he's shooting 40% off three attempts, but he's much more of a slasher. Uh, and then having two elite catch and shoot options with MPJ and Cam Johnson. And I know that all of these players, one of them might have to go in a trade like this, but I think just figuring out a way to get a catch and shoot type option like Cam Johnson on this team would uh fix all those problems that you just said.
Definitely. I think they have what it takes to make it to the finals this year.
Yeah.
I can't. Can you see it? Can you think of a team that will give them a problem? In the
Is
West?
so clearly the key to them is the two
Yeah.
bigs with the the owner of the person that created the Nuggets left and made the Timberwolves and basically made the kryptonite for the Nuggets beating them in the playoffs. And the
Yeah.
key is to have the two bigs. And number one in the East, we're looking at the team that has probably is playing the most like type of basketball that you'd probably see in like the 2000 and like 15s, like a true power forward who it can basically do everything in Evan Mobley, but a very traditional center in Jared Allen. You just have a lot of 3 and D around two dynamic guards. I think that chemistry right there, that could be a team. Of course, that would have to be a finals matchup. So more looking at teams in the West. Um, OKC at full health, of course. They would have two bigs in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hardenstein. So I think them. But yeah, so but when we're talking about that Memphis and that Houston Rockets team, I mean, those I would be scared to play the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals because
Mhm.
I mean that is exactly like the I don't know what the word for it, but like it's kind of like the same. It's the exact situation that the Denver
Yeah.
Nuggets want to fall into, just playing a team that doesn't have this exact size to play against
Yeah.
them. And then even
Like
the
who's gonna guard
Mavericks,
Jokic?
yeah. I mean, the Mavericks can throw Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, but the Clippers, Zubac definitely can't hold Jokic for full 7 games. It definitely a very sneaky team at four that I think if they have the right path, they could definitely find themselves in the finals again.
Hmm.
And but I'm a big believer in all of this being said. I know I talked about the Celtics and how they've been playing their worst basketball. Nothing has thrown me off of the trail of I think the finals is going to be the Boston Celtics versus the Thunder. Has anything thrown you off of that trail?
I don't think so. If not the Thunder, the Nuggets for sure. If not them two.
Yeah.
I would love to see the Clippers. I would really love to see the Clippers, but right now they're just inconsistent, and they don't like Kawhi need to come back. Like they need a whole lot of problems.
They
I
dropped a
can't see.
trailer for his return.
Yeah, I can't think any other teams though besides Thunder and the Nuggets.
Yeah, I think my like what what else does the Cavs have to do to prove it to you? They've taken the 1 seed from the Boston Celtics. They're 29-4. The Celtics are 24-9. Like what more does I wish that was a team that could have had a Christmas game or could have had like a big staple game because that's what basically made the Spurs. Like the
Yeah.
Spurs have made me think that I would hate to see them in the play-in. Like if you can get one amazing game out of Wemby, that puts you in the playoffs, and that's what you need. It's like what's this hump that the Cavaliers need to find?
I really think if I'm looking at the up and coming schedule. If they can beat the Thunder, I will really consider them. If they can beat the Thunder twice, I can really consider. They play them January 8th. And this is not an injured Thunder team. This is not like,
Yeah,
but besides maybe one or two players not there, the Thunder is full. They play them January 8th, Wednesday, and they also play them January 16th. They beat them twice. And it's like, all right, we know who's official.
yeah. That would definitely be
I
something
think those two
look out
games,
for.
any other games in between really don't matter. Like they play the Pacers back and forth. I love the Pacers, but they're not. I mean, they're probably gonna win those games. I got the Cavs winning those games, but if they can beat the Thunder twice,
Yeah,
I will consider them number one for real, for real. They're number one, but I'll really consider number one because if you beat Shea Gilly, the Mister 30 point, don't sweat. Come on, he drops 30 points and does not sweat.
yeah. I mean the Cavs are just they're on fire. They're 9-1 in their last 10. I mean,
That's amazing.
yeah, it's definitely a momentum that they can carry into these Thunders games. Um,
And they play as a team. I love teams that play as a team. I love
yeah,
teams that play as a team.
yeah. I mean, yeah. They also still have not pushed that gap for me. So yeah, that if they were able to beat the Thunder twice, that would be definitely a big hump to come over for
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Um,
I think not even us. I think everybody would look at them as like, okay, this is the team that could win the finals.
yeah. So on our next episode, I was thinking we would do our all-star picks and
Mhm.
just talk about some the most of the most all NBA surprising team players. Um so but for a sneak peek of that, I think the number one on top of that list, and I just wanted to share this stat before we left. Peyton Pritchard would be the number one MVP of most surprising. I did not think he was going to have this type of year, but 9 threes a game, shooting 43%. Um,
Amazing.
and then according to uh Tim Legler, who's one of the NBA announcers, he has a podcast. He said on his podcast, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White are shooting more threes, but have the exact same efficiency as uh Klay Thompson and Steph Curry in 2015, which is crazy that
That is crazy.
the two guys that aren't even your top three players are shooting the best, some of the splits that we would have considered the best ever in basketball.
Mhm.
So I don't know. This the basketball that Peyton Pritchard had been playing has been insane.
Yeah, he's been amazing. I think what he's able to do from the Celtics off the bench is crazy. If you
Yeah,
look at a lot of bench players around the league, they aren't able to do that. They aren't able to have that fire to come off the bench shooting and be humble and not feel like, oh, I need to be playing more minutes. Let me talk to the coach. I think what he's doing is perfect in this role is amazing. So if he's able to keep that up, they can make it far.
yeah. All right. Well, let's.
Imagine, and yeah, and imagine having sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're
Imagine
good.
having those couple pieces, like bunch of him and like Bones, all on the same team. That'll make a perfect team to have a bunch of role players to give you 15 off the bench and 20 off the bench. That makes a perfect team.
Yeah, yeah. It does. I mean, that's just also why uh like it's hard for them, even if they're sitting at the 2 seed. It's hard for me to still not have the Celtics over the Cavs in my eyes. They are the reigning champions, and they will be that until they are dethroned, similar to how the Nuggets were dethroned against the Timberwolves. I did not think the Nuggets weren't going to make the finals until someone truly beat them and played them, and that was Anthony Edwards. But yeah, but before we leave, you said you wanted to talk about food in our next podcast. So what's the best meal you've had since?
The best meal I had recently,
Yeah.
I've had, I cooked some steak and potatoes and celery. Um, so I like my steak medium well, little rare. And I make a sweet potato with brown sugar, butter, and I put a little extra sugar on there sometimes, and I'll make some celery or ranch. That is my healthy meal of the day, y'all. What about you, Quentin?
I'll
What's
give
something that
you
you like to eat?
an unhealthy meal, but it is so good. There's a place that I went to. It's called Meatheads, and I had their Meatheads dirty fries, and it was a big. It came in a cardboard like box almost, and it was fries, cheese, their meathead sauce. It was and then like cheese steak, like
Cheesesteak meat.
yep,
Sounds
yeah,
good. And it's in New Jersey, right?
yep. It was really good. It was
So
in
if
Trenton, New
y'all in New
Jersey.
Jersey, hit up Meatheads.
Yeah, and if you're in Indianapolis, hit up Yats.
Hit up Yats. If you want some Creole food, definitely.
That's the best thing I missed. That's the number one recommendation I can give you. You get the presentation might not all be there at first,
Yes.
but that food it is
That food is
immaculate.
great and it's affordable. $5 to $10 platter.
Yeah, facts. All right, well, I will see you for our next Friday. Every Friday, like we said, is
Every Friday.
our New
If
Year's
you miss a Friday,
resolution.
let us know.
We are uploading every Friday. Have a good one. I'll see you next Friday.
Peace.